Just talk a little bit about what you've seen in the offensive line room so far.
I think number one, what I've seen is just a bunch of guys that like being around each other. There's a really good chemistry. They seem to communicate well, enjoy learning the game of football. We kind of started not even with a base offense, but just trying to put 22 bodies on the field and learn what the structure was, and they love that part of it. And then, I think a really good work ethic too. Guys have to push themselves a little bit more, but a really good starting platform.
Do you want offensive linemen that are more mobile and more athletic to run your offense?
I think there's always a fine combination. We have, over the years, gravitated to guys that are a little bit more athletic and mobile. We've pulled guys a lot more than we used to in the past. I think really, though, what you have to do is see what you have up front and mold your offense to what fits in the best. I mean, shoot, if a guy can't pull, it doesn't make sense to ask him to pull. And if he's big and burly and strong, then let's go let him knock somebody off the ball and try and make our scheme fit those guys.
Glenn, Luis Fernandez from WBIR. You're one of three offensive assistant coaches who are following Josh to Tennessee from UCF, who have had multiple years of experience with him. Why make that decision? What about Josh as a head coach makes you all want to come be with him?
I think it goes back to when I was at Missouri. I've said this a bunch. Hype was the scariest blend of the best human being that I've been around, that actually cares about people, that cares about family, and is blended with a freaky smart guy. He's highly intelligent, and I don't know, man. I'd never been around anybody that was that genuine and that smart at the game of football, and I wanted to be able to work for him ever since I met him. And really, the decision was pretty easy.
We'll go to David Oben, then Blake Topmeyer.
Glenn, as you guys are evaluating players on the recruiting trail, what is sort of your prototypical size for interior linemen versus tackles? And what are the things that you sort of are prioritizing and looking for when you recruit offensive linemen?
Sure. Interior linemen, obviously trying to find guys thicker hipped, wider based, can hold up inside, especially in this conference a little bit more. Got brought up for the athletic piece of it. Man, I think if you can be wide, long-armed, hold a 320, a 330, and athletic enough to get out in space, that's the perfect freaky combination. Again, guys are going to have different traits that make them good linemen. That would be what you'd prototypically look for. Tackles, again, we'll try to find guys a little bit more foot speed, a little longer, arm length, huge piece of it. And then inside of that, like those are all the athletic traits that we're looking for. But because we're tempo, to me, everybody always asks, what's the most important piece for a lineman? It has to be intelligence. Those guys got to be able to process fast. We're going quick. Doesn't matter how good an offensive lineman they are. If they can't make a decision like that, man, it's tough for them. So we'll bring them as far as we can, coach them, but they have to be intelligent football players.
Hey, Glenn, Blake Topmeyer, Knoxville News Sentinel. When you're during the first off season installing, an up-tempo system like this, what's the biggest challenge, do you think, for your players? And then you've been through this before in making kind of a 180 change in the offense at Missouri. What did that experience in that first off season teach you?
I think the kind of where we started here is typically the biggest change, because defenses morph so much when we play them week to week. You have to know where all 11 bodies are and actually be able to ID them, track them, know the game of football, not just inside of a box, but man, where is the field back or the safety? Are they playing 3 or 4 down? And us be able to know how defense is actually structured and adjust at the beginning of a game. So I think that's probably the biggest change for guys when we first start. Going back to Missouri, man, again, I don't know if there's a secret recipe, but guys were hungry for success. They wanted to be able to go score points. And I just remember, like, vividly, we had the first scrimmage, and man, maybe we had like 2 or 3 touchdowns, and all the coaches were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe we just scored 2 or 3 times," and the players were like erupting on the sideline. You would have thought we won the freaking Super Bowl. And they just get where they enjoy it, man. Enjoy the success of playing good on offense, and I think you just ask them to continue to do things differently, and they stay open-minded because they see the success it breeds.
Some more questions for Coach. We'll go to Gustavo, then Matthew Ray.
Coach, what have you studied the O-line that Tennessee had last year? And if what do you think one of the things that you can fix or you can improve from last year coming out this year?
I have watched individual cuts of them as players. I don't want to focus on the scheme from last year, like saying fix this or fix that, because, man, it's just not fair to them because whatever it was being asked of them, there's just going to be differences. Saying we got to fix this, fix that, we've got to learn how to play offense, find out what our guys do the best in our offense, and then, man, fix the issues that arise there. I know I'm not answering your question, but that one's a tough one because, man, what wasn't able to coach them.
Glenn, Matthew Ray, Sports Illustrated. Before you were officially announced the Tennessee job, you were able to make a move on National Signing Day and get another tackle body in the class. How important was it for you to be able to identify a guy that you had already evaluated and knew that you could get to Knoxville to add another tackle body? And how hard was that given the restrictions that COVID prevented last year on the recruiting trail? Right.
I think Coach Height did a great job. Getting in, was able to early see that because of the way things have gone, that we do need depth at that position, have some good young players and a couple guys coming back, but that is an area that we needed depth. He did an awesome job of, kind of going back on past experiences of guys that we knew that were available, use some of those relationships. And I think with Jeremiah, you get a guy that is plenty athletic to do what we want and has the measurables. That was a huge piece for us. It'll definitely help us depth-wise and bringing in a guy that's had a little bit more experience as well.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.